Hey lighting people, welcome back to another tutorial. Today we're talking about how to use the plugin Random Position by MA3 Extensions, which you can purchase on Add-on Desk. And I mentioned this in the last video, but I have two coupons, FLight10 and FLight15. You can get 10% off using my code if you buy either of MA3 Extensions plugins, or 15% off of both if you get them both at the same time using those codes. So over here on my computer, I have my Random Position plugin right here. And I'm going to click on it. Now, I have not used it before, so when I click on it, I forgot about that. You do have to select fixtures first. So let's just go with my downstage washes. I'll turn them on so I can see them. And I'm going to click on this, and it says, Random Position is going to store 16 helper groups to store settings. They're stored in this location by default. You can change it. You can move them. That is how that works. Once you have done this, you will not get this pop-up again. All right, I'm going to click continue, and you can change it. I don't care to change it. Then it gives you this information, and we're all good. All right, now we can use this plugin, and it has given us this lovely pop-up. Basically what this plugin does is it gives you the option to create random positions. So if we want to make a random position, we can use pan, we can use tilt, we can use both. We can make a lot of adjustments to make it look exactly the way we want, and then we can store these values either in our presets or whatever we want to do with them. You also can use this to make random position effects. So all kinds of coolness. So to start off with, you have options between random, semi-random, alt-random, identical random. Anytime you click on one of these, it will also recalculate what the random is. You can adjust the range in which it's allowed to move fixtures, both for pan and for tilt. And then that will limit it or give it more space. Then this is going to determine kind of how far the fixtures go towards that random. And these are some cool effects. I don't have that many fixtures in my selection right now, or it would look cooler, but we can click random again. It's going to recalculate. We can click semi-random. It'll do a different kind of random. Alt-random is an alternative random. And then identical random is, I'm not sure exactly what the difference is between that one and the others, but it's a different kind of random. It looks a little more symmetrical maybe. So then we have the symmetrical mode. So you can turn that off, and then they're just all like, they really look random. I do prefer to leave symmetrical mode on. I think it looks nicer, but obviously up to you. And then you can invert pan, invert it back and forth. You can invert tilt back and forth to whichever way you want it. You can reset these. This is resetting not the values of your faders, but the values that you had selected before you opened the pop-up. So if I cancel this, it's resetting this. Now, if you saw my FancyFAN video, we talked about the same kind of thing. If you give it a value before you open it, it's going to use that as a base position. And all of these adjustments will be relative to that. But you can reset it, and then it's basically resetting what base it's using to calculate these positions. Now, all of this, I'm saying relative. It's adjusting relative to those values that you gave it to begin with, right? But it is changing absolute values. You can also enable relative mode, and then it is putting relative values in rather than absolute values. Now, switching back and forth can apparently be a little bit tricky. I don't like storing position values with relative for most applications, and I don't think I would use this in relative mode, but it's an option if you want it. Now, this is kind of our normal way to use this, but there is an alternative way. So right now we have pan range and tilt range kind of determining how far our fixtures are allowed to go, and it's just giving them a random position. If you would like to use a given position as the limits of your random, you can do that too. So the workflow for that is a little bit complicated. It has information here in the help. So if you go over to from to mode, it describes it for you. But basically the way it works is you decide about your absolute or relative, then you click the from to button and OK. And so let's do that. From 2, yes. So you set your original position. When you're happy with the position, then you open the plugin again. Then you can move the lights. And when you're happy with that, I'm going to go so. Then you hit capture 2. Now you've captured from and to values. And you can adjust this as well. You can tilt them up or down. But you have kind of this look now randomized between the values you gave it. You can also change the random again, but it's going to use those values as the limits for the random, whatever ones you gave it. All right, let's turn off from 2 mode and we'll reopen it. Now our limits are whatever they were before. Speaking of limits, this range thing is operating within a limit that is set in your config. So your config gives you a pan limit, a tilt limit. You can also set a program time if you want to have changes fade. You can use program time. I don't like program time. I'm going to leave it off. But you can adjust how far your fixtures are allowed to pan and tilt. Again, this is the same as in the FancyFAN plugin, and I did go into that in a little more detail in that video, so go watch that if you need more elaboration. I'm going to set these back to their defaults, and there we go. Cool. So we've been over static randoms now, but you can also make random phasers in this plugin. So let's go with Crazy Phaser, 8 steps, and it creates a phaser. And isn't that wild? Now when it creates a phaser, it closes the pop-up afterwards, and you can open it and make changes to it. So it's doing this random thing, and it's in 8 different steps. How Crazy button is going to let you choose how many steps you want. So let's say I want 4 steps. Actually, 4 is even. I'm going to go with an odd number. Let's do 5. Okay. Crazy Phaser. And there we go. Now it's doing a 5-step random phaser. How wild is that? I mean, come on. So now this is in your programmer. You can store it, whatever, as per usual. I think to end this, I actually have to just clear out. I'm going to select my, I'm going to go ahead and select all of my spots and then turn them on. And now I'll open that. And we have a random look, very crazy random look. Now, as far as saving your values, whenever you've done static values and you'd like to save them, you can do that a couple different ways. And again, this is very similar to the FancyFAN plugin. So if you saw my tutorial video on that, you can derive this information from there. It's the same kind of thing. I'm going to hit it more briefly in this one. But you can either click apply and then it will save those values in the programmer as opposed to resetting it like it does when you click cancel. Or you can store a preset here like that. And then you can select it again afterwards, whatever. And you can store multiple presets, it doesn't matter. You can store your presets and go use them later, or you can also just hit this button to store position preset. It'll store it in the first empty position in your position preset pool, but it will name it random POS and it'll create 2, 3, 4, however many you need. So you can come in here, make a bunch of random positions, store them in your preset pool just by hitting that button and then go organize them later, whatever you need to do. I mean, it's pretty straightforward, but yeah, I think this is a really cool plugin. It's not quite as cool as FancyFAN, but it does make FancyFAN cooler. Let's see how. So I have this plugin installed, right? I'm going to go ahead and close that. I'm going to select my air spots, turn them on. Now that I have random position installed, let's go take a look at FancyFAN real quick. And if you missed that video, here's the briefest of introductions to it, obviously, but you should go watch that video. So I open FancyFAN, recalc R&D, and these buttons are now no longer grayed out like they were before I started using random positions. So now I'm going to reset all my faders. Let's do a tilt offset, add a little pan, and now I'm going to change these. So these are currently selecting pan and tilt adjust. Can change to pan random. Now, instead of moving this fader to this adjusted position that's not random, it's moving the lights towards a random position. How cool is that? This is my favorite thing ever. Like, this is the biggest upgrade to the FancyFAN plugin, which I already loved. This makes it so you can just do anything with the FancyFAN plugin. So I'm going to pan them towards a random position. Now, if I click pan adjust, it will make those adjustments apply to the regular values rather than random. Going random. So this fader, which changes back and forth between adjust and random, it remembers those values and just applies them differently depending on which mode it's in. Tilt adjust versus tilt random works exactly the same way. Well, you do have to give it a fan value first before you can then add to it randomly. Oh, I love this. I love this. This is so cool. It looks amazing. I love it. So we get our random value here. And if we don't like this random, we can hit recalc R&D and it'll get a whole new random. We can do that as often as we want so we can get all kinds of random values and adjust them to our liking. This is just the biggest time saver and upgrade to your programming workflow whenever you need to make position presets. I can't get over it. Honestly, for me personally, in my workflow, I probably wouldn't find it worth it to buy the random on its own unless I was going to use it with a FancyFAN. With the FancyFAN, I mean, it upgrades it so much that's worth it all by itself. I don't love doing a lot of just random positions on my own, but doing the random fanned out, the way that works is amazing. So I love how you can make a lot of really symmetrical, different directions, all kinds of stuff. So definitely go check them out. Use my discount codes for 10% off when you buy either one or 15% off if you're buying both. And also, quick reminder, we're Lua programmers, we're lighting people. We gotta have some merch to represent. I mean, come on. This is available in my YouTube store. Go get yours now. I will only be selling these for limited time because it is expensive to keep the store open. So if you'd like one, go get it and we can match in the next video.